Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Smartphone Round Robin. I am your host, Dieter Bone, here for WM Experts, and this week I have the BlackBerry Bold. You can see it on the carousel here, and let's look at the phone itself. You can see I've got it here, and I've even got the little red indicator light letting me know I have got email coming in. So let's take a closer look at this BlackBerry Bold here and see what it's like for a Windows mobile user and lover to be on the BlackBerry Bold. All right, now the first thing I need to start out and talk about is the hardware of the BlackBerry Bold, and boy, it is great. It's really good stuff. Just good build quality. Windows Mobile could be any kind of hardware, anything from the Diamond there to the standard Q9H, all sorts of different hardware available. Whereas BlackBerry's relatively more standard. You've got your QWERTY, you've got your Pearl, and we've got your Storm coming. But this is a pretty straightforward hardware for a BlackBerry classic form factor. But boy, they did it just right. You can see I've got that custom battery cover there with that faux leather on the back. Feels really good. Feels really solid. The keyboard is very easy to type on. It looks like it might not be because the keys are bunched up right next to each other, but it's got those little ridges on it, so it's actually not a problem at all to type on. And that screen, my God, it is beautiful. It is just the best screen I've ever seen on a phone. High resolution in a small space. It's just wonderful. I catch myself trying to touch it like I think it's a touch screen. It's just so darn good. And you can even see there's a picture of a Windows Mobile screenshot. It looks good on this screen. Just incredible. I'm blown away by the quality of the screen. It's really, really good stuff. But that's not to say I don't have some quibbles here and there with the hardware. One thing I'm really used to on Windows mobile phones is that there's a multitude of buttons. So for example, the Q9H, you got email, browser, and shortcut keys to all sorts of stuff. And a lot of Windows mobile phones are like that. They've got a lot of shortcut keys to get you to applications very quickly without having to use the on-screen interface. Whereas with the BlackBerry, you don't have as many of those buttons. You're pretty much going to your home screen a lot. You can hit the send key to go to your phone, but you're going to the home screen quite a bit. You can hit that button there. Oh, look at that. You can hit Alt and back to switch between open applications, which is actually pretty convenient. And you do have a couple of buttons on the side that you can customize to go straight to applications. But just having two of those as a Windows mobile user, I do find a little bit disconcerting. I do wish that there were some more shortcut buttons. Of course, I could go on and on about the hardware, but the bottom line is the trackball feels good. Overall, it's just an incredibly well-made device, good speakerphone. Everything's really good about it. I'm really happy with the device overall, but need to talk about the operating system, of course, because that's what really is the big difference here. And first thing first, the operating system is fast and snappy. You can see I'm just burning through stuff very quickly with that trackball and jumping through the menus. No lag whatsoever in anything that I've used. Even here in the BlackBerry Maps app, you can see it's loading stuff up over 3G very quickly. And even if, not counting just data, the whole thing is just very, very fast, very, very responsive. They really knocked it out of the park in terms of speed. And that's one of the benefits of the BlackBerry OS compared to Windows Mobile is it does feel much faster. Now, every operating system has its own usage metaphors, and the BlackBerry usage metaphor I found is that BlackBerry button. You are going to be going to that button all the time. It's your go-to button for all sorts of options, and so pretty much wherever you are, if the option isn't visible on the screen, you're going to be going in there and hitting that button to get a huge list of things that you might want to do depending on what application you're in. Now, the nice thing is they do default to stuff that you're going to want to do most commonly. So you can see, even though there's this huge list here, when you go into something and you hit the BlackBerry button, it does, like there, it defaults to open, for example, on pictures. So that's convenient, but it still is a little bit overwhelming to me to not have stuff on the front. I mean, I know that would be overwhelming to say an iPhone user, but as a Windows mobile user, it's, I'm used to it, right? Stuff is hidden under menus all the time. Sometimes you can hit that center button too to open up menus, but you don't necessarily have to. You can use a BlackBerry button, so that's okay. So again, very speedy, and you're hitting that BlackBerry button quite a bit. Another thing that I find slightly disconcerting as a Windows mobile user is settings. Now, of course, settings for every smartphone are going to be a little bit different. And here, there's just a lot of stuff in here. And, of course, you go into advanced options, it's different. But there's stuff that I just don't know what it is, like service books or whatever. And, some of that is just not being familiar with the platform. But it does really feel like, there's some settings in certain applications you've got to hunt down to do certain things, and some settings that are in the global settings. And it's just sort of tough to know where to go to find the things that you want to tweak or change. In particular, this key stores thing is driving me nuts. I'm getting certificate errors popping up all the time when I'm trying to connect to Google Sync to sync my calendar, which is actually a really cool application. I'm glad the folks at crackberry.com showed me that. But in general, I still feel a little bit mystified after using this phone for just shy of a week about where to find settings. Of course, BlackBerry is an email device, so we got to talk about email. They do have a unified inbox, which is pretty cool. And we've also got, all your email here. And excuse some of these jumps here. I want to make sure not to show anybody's actual emails to me. This is great. The text looks really good. Setting it up for me was a pain, not at all what I'm used to with Windows Mobile. I had to call AT&T, set up a BlackBerry internet service plan, and it took a long time. It took 45 minutes, and then I had to go to AT&T's site to set up the thing. I could have also done it on the BlackBerry, admittedly, but if you don't have a BlackBerry plan, it can be a little bit weird. And I went on at length before about this in the previous round robin, the Catholic versus Protestant method of email. And there's still some things I'm not super happy about, but I'm going to talk more about that later in the week when I do the full article. I'm showing the browser here right now, and boy, the browser is really good. It is much, much better than the browser that was on the old Curve when we did the round robin last year. This is way better than Pocket Internet Explorer. I know that's not saying much, but you can see here it's rendering the page very well. Unlike last year, I haven't felt the need to install Opera Mini. This thing is fast on 3G. It's not great. It's not as good as, say, Opera Mobile 9.5 in terms of rich interaction with pages, although it does seem quite a bit snappier, faster than that. So really, I got no complaints about this browser. I know that there's been some speed tests and JavaScript stuff going on, especially comparing it to the iPhone, but compared to Windows Mobile, the browser situation on the BlackBerry Bold is totally acceptable, with the possible caveat that it would be nice to see more third-party browsers, but I can't say that definitively yet. But it'd be nice to see something like Skyfire. Here I am looking at media. There's my classic media testing video. I am Ninja, Ask a Ninja. And, you can go look at music. And the music application also much better than the default Windows Mobile music app. You can auto search for stuff very quickly here. And you can, play a song very easily. And it looks pretty good. And when the song is playing and you go outside that, you hit that BlackBerry button. And somewhere in that menu, you'll be able to find Now Playing. So you can go back to your music application. There's stuff that I'd like to see more options for, and I'm going to be looking into third-party applications so I can get stuff like podcasts and other stuff streamed. But all in all, no big knocks. Another nice thing to see, search. There's certain smartphones that don't have this feature, and it's a nice feature to be able to search across your messages and your calendar and whatnot very quickly. So that's another nice feature I wanted to point out. Boy, does that text look nice. Clock, nice to have a decent clock too. So overall, my initial impressions of the BlackBerry are, I'm very impressed. It's fast, it's snappy. Once you get used to the email, it's also fine. I do wish that it would mark things as read properly over IMAP. It doesn't seem to do that, so I'm constantly marking things as read on the BlackBerry. And that sort of fits into my overall point, which is I'm finding myself adapting myself to the BlackBerry instead of adapting the BlackBerry to me. You kind of have to buy into the BlackBerry way of doing things a little bit. And of course that applies to any smartphone. But with Windows Mobile, not as much, because you can really tweak the ever-loving whatever out of Windows Mobile. Whereas I'm betting, and I could be wrong, but it seems like there's a few things that I just can't tweak into my exact preferences as a Windows Mobile user. For getting my Gmail contacts synced automatically, for getting my email to work exactly the way I like, and so on. Another thing here, I missed the Today screen. Here's TouchFlow 3D, but also the standard Today screen. It displays a lot of information, whereas on the BlackBerry, you get a bunch of icons. And sure, it shows some, red statuses, and they do have have there. I know there's improvements on the way where it'll show like weather information on the home screen and so on, but generally speaking, I really miss the Today screen that has all of that rich information, a whole bunch of stuff that I want to know at a glance right there. So I do wish I could see that. Anyway, I'm going to be giving this a much closer look in text in a little more than a week, so stay tuned for that. Meanwhile, this is a Windows Mobile user's take on BlackBerry.